Hello, everybody. Bill Thornton, SoCal Saber. Thanks for stopping by my music channel so you can hear me talk about the things that I listened to this week out of my album and CD collections. Uh, we got a pretty good span of music. This from 50 years, from the first one to the last one, is a 50-year span difference in years. So that made it a little interesting to see what the difference in music was. And we're going to get her going here. Just a second. Yeah, the first one that we started off with happened to be the oldest one from 1976. It's an album titled Hold On by Dan Hill. Now, I don't have anything else in my collection by Dan Hill. I personally don't remember Dan Hill. This was the second studio album by the Canadian singer. Anybody knows him? See, it's got a discount cut here on it. It is the gatefold. This album had two songs on it. There's no inner on it. There's two songs on it that charted in Canada, with Phone Call peaking at number 17 in 1977. Dan Hill, like I said, I don't remember him, had 13 studio albums. How come I don't remember him? And his third album had a hit on it. So, must have one hit and just pushed a lot of albums out. Like I said, I don't remember him, and this album is just a little too soft for me. So we're going to take a look at it. 20th Century label. I think a change in instruments and tempo would have been would have been welcomed by me, because it seemed like it was just the same constant, and a little too much. Mostly won't be reached for again. So, because of the mellowness and the cover and that, and I'm going to give this a fair plus for the week, which means I probably won't reach for it again, but at least it's in the collection by Dan Hill, somebody that I know now, but I didn't know then. Wow. Now we're going to be going on to the second one here in just a second, but if you don't mind, I'd appreciate it if you take a second, go down there and hit that like button. And subscribe if you haven't done so yet. Put some comments down there about the albums and CDs that I'm showing you, if you like them, if you have them, or what did you listen to this week? What kind of music do you like? Anything get on in there in the comments. I will love to hear from you, and I will get back from you. The second one is a 1984 LP by Richard Clayderman. Only thing I have by him too. These first two are almost the end of that bundle. I think that big whatnot bundle I bought, that mistake I made, but I guess I did get some good stuff out of it. And this was a piano instrumental album published by Columbia Records. If this is 2i or whatever they used to call that, 2i Columbia, but I don't ever know what they're talking about. By the way, I don't get more people on the channel because I'm not that's acknowledged. It contained 11 very nice, relaxing tracks. I couldn't find anything written about it. So, the title isn't included on the list of his 38 studio albums. 38 studio albums he put out. But the title of this one is not on that list. So, what am I going to do about that? From what I read, he seems to have been a child prodigy when it comes to playing the piano, who could read music at the age of 6. Wow, isn't that something? Probably told you this before, but I don't have a lot of regrets in life, but one of the few regrets was I was about 12 or 13. I was learning how to play the piano, getting lessons every Saturday from my aunt free. I was just at the point where I could sight read. I was just starting to play sight reading when I says, I'm not doing this no more. It's Saturday. I got to be outside playing baseball or football or something. And I quit. That is one of my regrets, not following up on that. And there goes those albums. Time out. This is spinning number 125. So I've been doing this for 125 weeks. That's the first time I ever remember any albums sliding off of this chair that I used to put them on. They didn't get ruined, they didn't get scratched or nothing, but that was the first two of the week, so that wasn't good. So the next one that I got, we're going to go to the far end of the spectrum, to 2026. This was a Record Store Day 2026 release. And it's Bryan Adams, Tough Town. I got this from the In Groove in the very early morning after Record Store Day. If you want to see everything I got on Record Store Day, check out, there's a video out there on my pickups. This was, what do I have? I have 2 LPs and 1 CD in the collection by Bryan Adams. And it says, and a printed inner, and it's wrapped in a belly band. They're calling this a belly band. I guess it differentiated from an obi from Japan. Then I just left the shrink wrap on, so I didn't want to take that off, and I wanted to keep the record store. What do you call it? Pipe sticker. Comes nice on like a nice gray metal. You ever have a hard time figuring out what's the side 1 and what's the side 2 of these albums when they're like this? Well, I put this one on this side and found out right away that it was side 2, so I took it off and played the other side first. Okay. This features 10 tracks. When I first heard about this, I was told, and how hearsay goes, that this was new music created and going to be released for Record Store Days. Well, I found out a little differently, and this may be wrong, but it features 10 tracks that previously were only featured in the deluxe box set of Roll with the Punches in a CD wallet. So, but this is available on vinyl for the very first time. It's the 7th studio album by Bryan Adams, another Canadian singer. That's two out of 3 the Canadian singers running the show this week. I can't compare this to the other things that I have by Bryan Adams. Because the other things are basically greatest hits compilations. And, so I listened to it and I liked it, but it didn't rock me. Okay. It did not rock me. And so Tough Town, the 2026 release by Bryan Adams on Record Store Day, is going to get a G for the week for good. All right. Get this back in here, so I don't have to fight too much when we're done. Time for the CDs. Start the CDs of the week. The first one I pulled out was number 225. We've been listening to a lot of CDs. Okay, and this is the 1994 INXS Greatest Hits. I do like INXS. I have 5 CDs in the collection by them. This was a chart success in Australia, peaking at number 2, and in the UK where it reached number 3. It stalled at 112 on the Billboard Top 200 in the US. You know, little connection I had to INXS, I liked them, you know, and after the passing of their lead singer, I always forget, Joe Hutchinson or whatever his name was, they waited a bit and they went on a TV show, which I really liked this TV show, the way it was called Rockstar. Looking for a new lead singer, and they had all of these people try out, and there was a lot of good people that try it out. And in the end, a guy named J.D. Fortune won. In 2005, this was, it happened. And following that, they went on tour with J.D. Fortune, and I got to go see him. It was one of the tours was a stop in Vegas, and me and my friend Holly and her daughter Davina went up to Vegas and watched the concert. It was pretty good. JD did a pretty nice run. This whole album, this is a nice collaboration of my INXS material because it consolidates 16 songs into one piece of media as compared to the 5. Which I like. And I must say, this was VG listening this week. Very good listening. I enjoyed this a lot. Okay, next was the 1995 album by Neil Young, Mirror Ball. The disco ball up there, huh? I didn't, so we'll backtrack for just 1 second. I didn't show you INXS's CD. Pretty nice little CD. Okay, so Mirror Ball. You know, I've got to like Neil Young. I suppose I must like Neil Young, as I have 4 LPs and 16 CDs in my collection by him. That's crazy. I guess that makes me a big fan. I wonder if I'm a big fan or I'm just a fan that likes his stuff, and you know, it's like my completedness every time he puts something up. But I haven't bought anything new from him for a while. But this is Mirror Ball, okay? And it features, it's a 23rd studio album by a Canadian-American musician, another Canadian. And it features members of the American rock band Pearl Jam playing with him and adding material. Show you the inside. There ain't much to see in there, but I'm going to show it to you anyway. There's a concept on this and that I read that Neil says that the material is a conflict between idealism and reality. He says the two have got to come together, yet there are always major problems when they do. When you think about that, that's pretty true. And then we go say, it says only, let I read this, only Young's name appears on the album sleeve, although the members of Pearl Jam are credited individually in the liner notes. That's his liner notes. This really detracts from this, so I'm going to show you these. Okay, we're not starting off too bad there, are we? Now look at that text. I think you guys know I have a pet peeve against CDs with their text so small. I would like a few more pages with bigger text. So who could read those liner notes? I can't, not even with my glasses on. It's crazy. Don't like that at all. Mirror Ball reached number 5 on the Billboard's Top 200 album chart, and it entered 12 charts totally. So that's pretty successful. I did like this a lot. I enjoyed the music a lot, VG type a lot, but I'm rating the product down, the production down because of this writing. So I'm giving Mirrorball a G plus for the week. It's just my ratings, not anybody else's. So if you can read those things, all the power to you, but I can't. All right, we're getting down now. We got through the CDs. Now we're getting down to the two albums that have been in the collections for a long time and get pulled out in turn. The first one is a 1979 album. Keep the Fire by Kenny Loggins. See these numbers up here? How I used to put these tags on here? Not thinking back in the day that would lower the value, even though I'm not into this for value. But anyway, Keep the Fire. I have 3 LPs and 2 CDs in my collection by Kenny. This was his 3rd studio album. Best known for the hit, This Is It. The song was co-written by Michael McDonald. Everybody know him from the Doobie Brothers, who also performed on the track. Michael Jackson sings background vocals on the track Who's Right, Who's Wrong. So he had some powerful guys coming in to help him out on this one. So we got to go here. When it came out, critics were okay, I guess. Rolling Stone described the album as the new sound of Southern California, a sophisticated, diffused, jazz-inflected pop rock, performed by a augmented rock band, which guitars and keyboards get an equal play in the music. I did like that. I did like this one quite a bit. It only charted in the U.S. and Australia. I would have voted for it if I had a vote on the Columbia label. Funny how that light makes it change colors like that. I would have voted for it. This is pretty nice listening this week. This is really nice. And I'm going to give this one a G plus for the week. So that was Keep the Fire, the 1979 album by Kenny Loggins, getting a G plus on the week. All right, last one for the week. Still 1979. Disco's at its peak. And ABBA releases their 6th studio album. Swedish pop rock group was on a roll. The title track, Voulez-Vous, is very disco orientated. As I said, disco was at its peak at the time. The album yielded 5 hits, all of them big 1979 singles in Britain. You can see this is an original buy, and this is in really good shape. Got something else down in there too. Have a look. I didn't see this when I was playing it. Just an ad for ABBA clothes. Funny. Okay, the album, like I said, the album yielded 5 hits. They were Chiquita, Does Your Mother Know, I Have a Dream, and Voulez-Vous, and Angelise, something like that. That is spelled, where the heck is it? Angel. So we got Angel. And then Angel Eyes. Okay, there we go. That's better. I guess my Voulez-Vous and Does Your Mother Know were my favorites Even though on the back, I'll show you what I used to do with these albums too that kind of ruined them a little bit too. I don't know if you can see it or not. Next to these songs, some of these songs, there's a little pen slash mark. Let's see if I can find one. Right here's one. Okay, and what that means is that I recorded that particular song on one of my reel-to-reels. I have a Nakai 635 reel-to-reel. Back in the day, I used to fill them all up and have parties, and you put it on reverse play. 6 hours of nonstop music without having to change anything. That was the big in the day. We did a lot of partying living in Europe. And I'll tell you, living in Europe in 1979, the songs on this album were played on the radio a lot. As you know, like I said, disco was at its peak. ABBA was rolling, along with some brothers that were rolling during that time too. So, to end up this week, Voulez-Vous, the 1979 album by ABBA, gets. Did I tell you that I have 2 LPs in the collection? Well, now I just tell you. I have 2 LPs by ABBA in the collection. This gets a G+ for the week. Good sounds. Okay, now as usual, we take a look and I'll tell you which 2 that I picked out as the ones that were my favorites of the week or took me back in time or what I liked, or, a whole different, whatever the reason was. And going back up here to the top, you know what? Tough Town Now. I said before that I'm trying to stay away from the compilation CDs or compilation records and picking them as the week because they have so many hits on it. So I passed on In Excess, which has got a VG. And the first pick of the week is Mirror Ball from 1995 from Neil Young. And then the second one of the week was between one of these last 2 albums I just showed you. And the second favorite of the week was Keep the Fire, the 1970 LP, 79 LP by Kenny Loggins. Well, put your comments down there. What you think? SoCal Saber saying thanks a lot for stopping by, folks. I really appreciate it. Take care of yourselves out there. Be kind to each other and stay safe.